What I'm about to share with you very well could be the gold and jewelry heist of the year. And it's not necessarily so much of what they were able to get away with, which was a large sum in terms of value, about $5 million worth. It's how they did it. Let's talk about it and some tips for safety for you, for your valuables, especially your gold and silver. Let's talk about it as we explore. Indeed, there's a breaking news story from the Los Angeles Times about a massive heist of gold and jewelry. Some very interesting items here. And of course, what you're looking at before you here is a representation of maybe some of what could have been stolen from there. And there's a reason why I'm showing this. Stay tuned, and I'll tell you about that here later in the video. But first, I want to thank Summit Metals for sponsoring the channel. They have a very good selection, an increasing selection of precious metal products over their website, summitmetals.com. So make sure to check them out to see if their prices are competitive for what you're looking for. Millions of dollars in gold and jewels were stolen from a downtown Los Angeles jeweler's two enormous safes after burglars tunneled into the Broadway shop through multiple reinforced walls, according to police officials. Now, that is very unusual. I've only heard of that happening one other time, and it's been a while ago. In fact, I may have covered it in a previous topic on precious metal crimes, of which this video will be a part. There's a lot of precious metal crimes out there, and with gold reaching all-time highs, I think we're going to see more and more creative ways that gold can be stolen. And this certainly does take the cake so far this year. In a security video of the weekend break-in, a massive drill can be heard carving through the main castle-like wall, making a hole big enough for a person to slip through to enter Love Jewels, Reign de Oro on Broadway and 5th Street. Los Angeles police say the thieves on Sunday night cut through a room next to a gold merchant and the 500 block of Broadway. Now, LAPD Commander Lillian Carranza said the owners informed the department that the thieves took about $5 million worth of merchandise. And when you think about about how much was lost in total, the owner said that it's upwards of $20 million. So it's a crazy amount of loss. And you think about it, a store like that has so many valuables, you know they've got a lot of security there. So it's a bold and brazen move, especially in this day and age in 2025, to see such a thing happen and so quickly and be able to take and get away with so much. It is just mind-blowing. But again, as I mentioned, we're going to see more and more of this stuff happen in more creative ways that it's going to cost a lot of time and money in order to implement these tactics. Which means that if you own gold and silver and other precious items that have gone up, especially gold, well, you have to do your diligence in order to protect yourself, protect your valuables. And one way to do that is to store it off-site if you can, at a very secure location that's kind of under the radar, if you will. And usually that's the thing, this just jewelry store where they sell gold and jewels. Well, obviously, everybody knows about it. Everybody knows that the stuff is valuable there. So the best thing to do is understand that silence is key. Secrecy is key. That is probably the 90% of really what's behind the protection of your goods. And really what's even more important than that is the humans that are inside of your home, your family members. You don't want to put anybody's lives at risk. So the best thing to do is to not make yourself a target. And that is profound. And there's other ways to secure and to protect your valuables, and I will get into that later in the video. But let's continue on, because this is where it gets really interesting. The store with heavy security, and that's just it. They've got cameras and stuff anywhere, and that is something that is definitely worthy to be able to implement in your home, is security and surveillance. To be able to have every square inch of your property and your inside of your home covered by these cameras, high resolution. and preferably at least 1080p, but now you can get 4K cameras for fairly cheap. Ways to do that as well and protect yourself in that area. Now, these heavy security cameras and alarm systems is known for being the source of bling for rappers, artists, and some gangsters. So there you go. So already that gives you some idea of how they have put an even bigger target on their back, especially with regards to some gangsters that are involved in the area. On social media, the store boasts images of personal necklace tributes. That's right, gold Rolex with straps. Of course, that's not a Rolex, but you get what I'm saying. Diamond-encrusted miniature AK-47s and M4s. There's an AK-47. Certainly it's not diamond-encrusted or any gold involved in this, but it is miniature, that's for sure. That's the best thing I can do to try to give you a visual of what's happening there, but nonetheless, they don't show this, but on their social media, you could probably check it out, but gold Rolex watch straps, diamond-encrusted AK-47s, diamond-encrusted M4 trinkets, and enormous racks of gold chains. And some of these gold chains can probably be anywhere between 10, 14, and 18 karat gold. Who knows? You might even be able to import and get some from the east and get them at 22 karat gold. Investigators say the burglars, after entering, cut the security camera feed, so there are no images of them inside the business. So they're very smart. But LAPD forensic experts are examining the scene for fingerprints and DNA. Well, if they're going to cut the feed to the security camera, I guess they could be sloppy and leave some DNA there. Or fingerprints. Likely they're going to wear gloves at the very least. Good luck for them finding that stuff. I don't think that's going to happen. That's for sure. But wow, what a crime this is, I tell you. An examination of recordings by LAPD investigators determined that the heist began around 9:30 p.m. Just this past Sunday. The jewelers discovered the theft Monday morning when they arrived at their shop. And that's plenty of time for the thieves to get in, get out, and get away scot-free. Investigators believe the likely high-level professional burglars spent several hours inside of the business. And when you think about the average time inside of a home or business for a theft, I think it's under 2 minutes. So they felt very comfortable in how they entered and how they got out, and were able to very easily get away with so many valuable things. It's pretty crazy. Now, I don't know. There's a disconnect here between the $5 million worth of merchandise and what the owner had said, that the loss was upwards of $20 million. And maybe that includes the destruction of property that was there, the drilling of the hole and to get through, and destruction of whatever is inside there. Who knows? It's very interesting. But I hope they catch the criminals. I hope they get prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But, you yourself, this is a high-profile case. Likely if you were to get burglarized, it would not make news to this level of effect, which means that they can very well easily get away with it. So when you have your surveillance set up, make sure that you can find a way to be discreet about it. Find a way to hide your camera system and the DVR and everything that would be able to capture images as they come into the property and into the home. Make it very difficult for them. That's profoundly important. And of course, obviously, faces will probably be covered for some of these criminals. But when you do have your system in place, you want to have it so that it is not connected to the internet, so that it can't be, hacked in that regard. Closed circuit television or whatever, and ways to be able to protect your footage and be able to have it somewhere where it can be obtained easily and hidden in such a way. And in a sense as well, power. Make sure that there's a battery backup for that security system and the surveillance, so that they can't just cut the power and it won't be able to record. It could still record. But nonetheless, there is options there. Protect yourself. You have to think a couple of steps ahead of the criminals in this case. Obviously, an alarm system is profoundly important as well, so that any kind of break-ins would trigger this alarm and bring police nearby. Obviously, these people were able to circumvent the alarm system by cutting the electricity, and obviously alarm systems do run on electricity. And so if they can somehow be set up as a battery backup separately, that would be yet another way to be able to make a call to the officials as another area. If you happen to be home, it's a great idea to be armed and ready to go in the case that you need to use your weapon if somebody enters your home. You must expect the worst case scenario if somebody enters your home uninvited, especially if they're not expecting somebody to be there. You have seen them. You are a threat. You're getting in their way. And especially with regards to valuables and alike, especially if they know you have a whole bunch, it's maybe worth it for them. They've already committed one big crime. You might as well go a step further. So have a gun in every room of the house that's loaded and ready to go. So no matter where you're at, you have the gun at the ready. Now, obviously, those guns need to be stored in such a way that they're discreet, where they're not easily found by a criminal who may be in another room and thinking, well, there's a gun laying on the table. No, you do not want to do that. You have to think things through. But so it'll be very interesting to see. Now, some of these stories, they don't have much follow-up. It's very difficult to know exactly what will be the outcome of this case, but we're going to try to keep an eye on it. But this just happened, so it'll be very fascinating indeed to see what comes of it. But if you found this video informative, insightful, and educational, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel and pressing that thumbs up button down below. And also hit the notifications bell down there as well, too, so that you can be apprised of the latest video that makes its way across your device. And with that being said, I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.